Hey guys, it's Carl. So hopefully this is your first look at the brand new Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 5 or Z Fold 5. I can never remember being Canadian. ZZ. And in all honesty, this is a bit more of a minor refresh. So Samsung came up with the two devices, the Z Flip 5 as well as the Z Fold 5. So the Z Flip 5, that had a bit bigger change with the larger cover or flex window display on the front. This one, on the other hand, it has changed a bit more around the dimensions. So the big issue with the previous gen, the Z Fold 4, the hinge mechanism was still a bit clunky. There was a bit of a gap in the middle, and that also made a larger crease on the inside of the display. Obviously, Samsung has developed their own folding mechanism, and it's a lot more streamlined. You no longer have that little crease or gap in the middle that was previously one of the issues. If debris kind of got into there, it would scratch the inside of your folding device. So now it's completely seamless. It's a lot more pocketable, and one of the biggest things that I noticed is how light the Fold 5 is compared to the Fold 4, and especially if you slap a case on it. And because the S Pen, which I think kind of stole the show for the Fold 5, we have a brand new redesigned S Pen. Unfortunately, there's still no slot in it, unlike the S23 Ultra, which I'm sure that new S Pen will find its way into the S24 Ultra when we see that release sometime early next year. Obviously, this is the older phone, but the S Pen has now been redesigned and it fits into the new case completely flush on the Fold 5. And there is a new way to kind of get the pen out. You have to press this little button on the case and the pen kind of pops out. And I do love how the pen is actually in alternating colors this year compared to the S Pen found on the S23 lineup. They're all black, maybe the little bit at the end color corresponds. But now the full body of the S Pen, depending on which one you get, there's one in like a pastel-y orange, there's one in yellow, kind of contrasting with the blue case, and obviously you can just get all black if that's your jam. And the S Pen is a lot thinner, it's a lot lighter, it's a bit sleeker, but it also feels a bit more plasticky, a bit more like a toy. This still feels more like an actual tool to use. The functionality was the same, but I almost felt like I was going to kind of snap it in half. That's how thin, not necessarily fragile it was. It still performs all of the same features on the phone. It still has a great response time. It's still one of the only pens that you can actually get for a premium device. It just kind of lacks that premium touch. Like I said, almost feels a bit like a toy. Nothing wrong with that though, if it's a lot sleeker, and I do really love the new pen design with that case kind of built in. It just keeps everything sleek and, like I said, a lot more easy and manageable to kind of fit into your pocket. So that's honestly probably the biggest thing coming to the Galaxy Z Fold 5. So it still has the same aspect ratio, so still not the same as the Oppo Find N2 Flip, which is a bit, I guess, thinner, not as tall. The cover screen, or the front screen, is 6.2 inches. It's still one of the best front displays that I've used on a folding device. I actually don't know if they now call this the flex window, similar to the Flip 5, because they changed the name of the front display on that. I think this is still called the front cover screen or the front display. And unless you're kind of switching to full use, if you want that full screen on the inside, that's when you fold it open to use the larger 7.6 inch display. Once again, a lot better because that crease has been less pronounced with that new hinge mechanism. It looks a lot more seamless, a lot cleaner. It's got full input and use with that new updated S Pen, and this is really great for productivity when you're trying to actually do stuff with a larger display or just enjoy whatever content that you kind of watch on a larger screen. So definitely a bit more of a refresh in terms of the design. That hinge obviously is nice. It kind of brings it in line with what the current competition is, but it still has a lot of the same hardware as before. So it's still rocking that triple camera setup, obviously 50 megapixel main sensor. Because it's a folding phone, I kind of tell most people for any folding or flipping device, stay away from that internal or screen camera. It's just so much worse than what you have on the outside, and use that benefit of it being a folding or flipping phone to use those cameras technically on the front, on the back, depending, I guess, how you're holding it. I think you know what I mean. Internally, once again, kind of brought up to date with current standards. So it's rocking the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 and a nice little bump up. The base storage option is now a 256 gigs, whereas before, or still on the Z Flip 5, you can get that in 128 gigs of storage. So other than that, other than it kind of reducing in kind of slimness, decreasing or improving that hinge mechanism, just making it more of a friendly foldable device, because when it's fully open, it's still quite large. And even when you kind of slam it shut, even if it has that case, which is now being redesigned, that nice flush S Pen, it is still quite a chunky phone. Obviously a lot different if you're using just, one kind of solid piece like this, the S23 Ultra. It's still hard to get away from this thin profile. It is getting better. Still not the thinnest that we've seen, but definitely a bit more 2023 friendly. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Like I said, I will leave my Galaxy Z Flip 5 footage here. Got a ton more content once I get that into the studio. Can obviously review it a bit more compared to other devices, but hopefully this has been your first look. You kind of know what's changed, what's new, what's updated, and I will catch the rest of you in one of my next episodes. Peace.